What if I told you that there's like this AI system out there that's
Yeah.
actually already like taking a bite out of this problem? Today we're diving into SASCOO.
Oh, cool.
It's a Malaysian innovation, and it's using AI to try and make traffic flow better. We've got some documents about SASCOO and like how it's been used in the real world.
Awesome.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
So what's really interesting about SASCOO is that it's not just some like idea, you know, it's actually out there doing its thing.
Right. It's actually working.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, how does this AI traffic like conductor actually work? How is it different from, our regular traffic lights?
So SASCOO is using real-time data from sensors and cameras. They're at the intersections, and they're constantly analyzing the flow of traffic. And then it dynamically adjusts the timing of the traffic lights to optimize everything as it's happening.
Okay, that makes sense. But we've had systems like SCATS and Scoot for a while.
Right.
How is SASCO different? Is it just a fancier version of those?
Well, it is more advanced. SASCO actually has two key advantages: AI and video recording.
Oh, okay.
The AI part means it learns and adapts to traffic patterns in ways that those other systems can't. And then the video recording gives it like this extra layer of data. So it gets a more complete picture of what's going on.
So it's not just reacting,
No.
it's learning and anticipating.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But like, does it actually work? Did this AI really make a noticeable difference, like in real world traffic?
The results, I think, speak for themselves. In places like Pasir Gudang and Ipoh, where they implemented SASCO, they saw a congestion drop by like huge percentages. In Pasir Gudang, it went down between 17% and, wait for it, 47%.
Wow, that's incredible. So what does that mean for the average driver? Like,
Yeah.
are we talking minutes saved,
Yeah.
or is this more of a like a long-term kind of thing?
Think of it this way. You're shaving minutes off your daily commute. You're hitting fewer red lights. You're spending less time, just sitting there in traffic.
Oh, that would be a dream.
Yeah, that's what SASCO is trying to do.
Let's dig into those implementations a bit.
Hmm.
What exactly did the Pasek Gudang project involve?
So in Pasir Gudang, they had 7 junctions, and they outfitted them with smart cameras and the SASCO software. The project ran from November 2022 to April 2023, and they had help from a few different telecommunication companies for the connectivity part.
Interesting. And what about IPO? Was it similar in like size and how long it lasted?
The IPO project was a little shorter. It ran from August to October 2022 and only involved 4 junctions, but the core components were the same: AI cameras, the SASCO software, and that focus on, adapting the signals in real time.
So different locations, different scales, but the basic approach was the same. It seems like they're really trying to make this system work in different places.
Exactly. And the fact that SASCO is like patent pending shows they really believe in it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It seems like they're not just trying to fix traffic in a few Malaysian cities. They're aiming bigger. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to talk about the details. Like you mentioned split times and offsets. What do those mean and how do they play into how SASCO optimizes traffic?
Okay, so think of split times as how long each traffic light phase is, like how long the green light stays on.
Right, right.
And then offsets are like these carefully planned delays between the signals at different intersections, so you can just drive through without hitting a red light.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So SASCO is basically constantly tweaking these timings, adapting to the traffic conditions as they change. And it's trying to create that smooth, uninterrupted flow.
Exactly. And that's where the AI is really important. It can analyze all this data, predict patterns, and make adjustments that a human just couldn't do in real time.
This is all really fascinating. It makes me wonder, like, about the bigger potential of AI in solving our traffic problems. Could this be the answer we've been waiting for?
It could be, but let's not get too excited just yet. There are still challenges like how much it costs to implement, data privacy, and making sure the AI is used ethically and effectively. But the potential is definitely there, and I think it's worth looking into more.
I agree. And this dive has definitely made me curious. But we're just getting started. We still have to talk about SASCOO's specific results and what its future potential is. So stay tuned because we're going to go even deeper.
Yeah, it's really it makes you think about like how cities could be different, how this could change how we plan them.
Yeah, you're right. But let's get back to like what's happening now. You talked about those big congestion drops in Pisar Gudang and Ipoh. What does that actually mean for, people driving?
Okay, so picture this. You're driving your normal route, But instead of being stuck, you're hitting more green lights. You're just like cruising through intersections. You're spending way less time just sitting there and getting frustrated. That's the kind of difference SASCOO's making.
That sounds amazing, especially for someone like me who spends a lot of time in traffic. But were those results like all day long or just at certain times?
That's a good question. What we see in the data is that there are improvements all day, like during rush hour and also when it's not so busy. Of course, it's more noticeable during rush hour when traffic's the worst, but the system's always working to make things better no matter what time it is.
So it's not just a quick fix for a few hours.
Right.
It's like always on.
Exactly.
Did the document say anything about problems they ran into, like with these projects? I mean, putting in new technology is never easy, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There were, challenges. Like with any big project, one of the main things was making sure the connection was good for all those cameras and sensors. Because remember, SASCO needs real-time data, so if the connection drops, it can't work as well.
Right, that makes sense. And I remember you said they had help from those telecom companies in both projects. Did those partnerships help them solve those connection problems?
Totally. That kind of teamwork is super important for these projects. Having that solid connection makes sure the AI is getting the data it needs all the time.
It shows how you need people working together to make these big changes.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the good stuff for drivers, like shorter commutes, less stress. But what about the bigger picture? How could this change cities in the long run?
That's where it gets really interesting. Like, imagine if SASCO and these AI systems become more common. It could change how we plan and build cities. Think of cities designed to have smooth traffic flow, like from the start.
I see, I see. But hold on, let's not get too far ahead. This all sounds great, but are there any downsides?
Hmm.
Could this accidentally cause new problems or make old problems worse?
Yeah, that's a good point. And we have to be careful. For example, what happens if the system crashes? Or there's a power outage? Could it make traffic even worse?
That's true. And what about privacy? We're talking about cameras and sensors collecting tons of data. How do we protect people's privacy and make sure that information isn't misused?
Those are really important questions. And it shows why we need to plan carefully and have strong safeguards in place. It's not just about the tech working. We have to think about how it affects people and society.
I totally agree. It's like figuring out the ethical side is just as important as making the AI perfect.
Hmm.
But let's not forget about the good stuff here. If we can handle those concerns, this could really change our cities.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine like no more traffic jams, shorter, more enjoyable commutes, cities that are designed to be efficient and good for the environment. That's worth working towards, and SASCOO might be a step in that direction.
After this deep dive, I'm feeling pretty good about the future of traffic, but we're not done yet. There's still more to talk about, like what LED Vision's planning to do with SASCOO and how people can learn more about all this. So stay with us because we're going deeper. It's wild to think SASCOO could actually change our cities from those traffic nightmares into something way smoother.
It is, right. It shows how AI can really solve these everyday problems. And the cool thing is, SASCOO's just the beginning.
Really? Are there other AI traffic things being developed?
Oh, yeah, definitely. LED Vision, the company that made SASCOO, they've got big plans. They're not just focused on traffic lights. They're looking at using AI for things like smart parking, making public transit run better, even like predicting accidents.
Whoa, that's a lot. So they're basically building this whole set of tools to make transportation smarter.
Exactly. Imagine a city where finding parking is easy, public transport is perfectly timed with traffic, and accidents are like stopped before they even happen.
It sounds so futuristic.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears for a sec. For our listeners who are hooked now and want to know more about SASCOO and all this AI traffic stuff, where should they go?
A good place to start is LED Vision's website. They've got all the details about SASCOO, its features, and how it's worked in those real-world projects. You can also find news articles and research papers online. Just search for AI traffic management.
And of course, we'll put links to all that in the show notes for this episode.
Perfect. The more we learn about this, the better we can be part of the conversation about how our cities are changing, and push for solutions that make our lives better.
I totally agree. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. SASCO is such a cool example of how we can use AI to fix a problem we all deal with. Traffic.
It shows that even the most annoying parts of city life can be improved. You just need some creativity and new technology.
So next time you're stuck in rush hour, remember, a smoother, smarter future might be closer than you think. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into SASCO and the world of AI-powered traffic management.